Just so you guys know, man, I record this and I've been trying to upload segments of it on YouTube. Hopefully, man, it'll reach people that are in the same position that we're in, or, maybe somebody that might not have a problem with drugs or alcohol that, really needs just like a little bit of hope and a little bit of encouragement. And so I definitely want to, thank you guys for letting me play a song every week, man. It's so important to me because, man, I think that's one of the ways that, man, it opens up my heart and my mind to like connect with God in a different way. And I know that not everybody believes the way I do, and so, man, I just appreciate you giving me the opportunity just to stand up here and share what's in my heart. I'm never trying to force what I believe on anybody else because I believe that that's a decision that individuals have to make. But, I've been thinking about what to talk about this morning, like all week, actually since last week's was over. And, man, so I'm going to give you a statement. And I want you to remember this. So, you know that you will never find what you're not looking for. You will never find what you're not looking for. And man, when I was little, man, it seemed like everywhere I went, man, I was always around somebody that was finding money on the ground. I mean, people find $100 bill. I can remember so many situations where people would find ones and tens and fives and 20s and 100. And I'd always say to myself, why am I never the one that finds the money? And I realized today, there's a lot of reasons why. Yeah, man, I probably wasn't really looking for it. I was playing, having fun. But man, I know for a fact that I didn't live my life with my eyes on the ground. Man, ever since I can remember, and that's just evidence that that's a true statement. Because you know what? If I was living my life with my eyes looking on the ground, trying to see what's right ahead of me, instead of lifting my face and my eyes up and looking what's down the road, man, I never would have found a lot of that money. That's why I didn't find that money, because that's not how I lived my life, and that's not what my focus was on. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I wanted to find money. So back in the day, man, we were kind of vagabonds. We lived from place to place, and my mom and dad had drug and alcohol problems and fidelity problems. And so, man, I mean, back in the 70s, man, you used the laundromat, man. You washed and dried your clothes. So I was always looking in those washers and those dryers to see if somebody left some money in there. Unfortunately, nobody left money. Somebody must have been looking in there too. But man, when you think about that, man, like you will never find what you're not looking for. Man, and the flip side of that is, man, what you're looking for, you'll always find. And so, man, I know that some of you know my story, prison, 20-year sentence, 10 years, blah, 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 blah. But, man, I realized this, man, it was probably in my pursuit to look, to find, to have something to talk about this week, man, I ran across this old notebook I had. And I'd written a lot of stuff in that notebook for something else. And I'd flipped to the back of it to write that stuff. But when I think it was maybe Saturday, I picked that notebook up because I'm a writer. I write notes. I'll take message notes. I'll do everything. And so when I have a thought, I'll normally try to put it on paper if it's something that I believe I'm supposed to share. And man, in the front of this notebook was something that I experienced about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. We were in South Louisiana. And we were walking into this restaurant, and it's the Chimes, and it's in Mandeville. And I looked up on the top of the roof at the place where there's normally a gutter, and it was a big timber, man, like an old railroad tie, is what it looked like. And man, I mean, this building probably been there 10 years, if not more. And out of this timber, man, there was this one sprig that had green leaves on it. Now, man, that caught my attention because it's wintertime. In South Louisiana, it's not really much of a winter. But, man, the grass is not green, the flowers aren't growing, and the leaves are definitely, if not falling, they're falling on the ground. And, man, I saw that, and, man, it made me think about something that I've never forgot. Man, like, life can come from even the deadest of things. And I mean, this timber had probably been cut, fabricated, milled, went through all the processes to get to this place where it was, it was decor for this building. And I looked at that, and I looked at that. I wished I'd have taken a picture of it. I almost did, and I said, no, I'll do it on the way out. Got busy, and I, just got sidetracked, and I said, no, I'm going to do it. But man, when I looked at that, and I saw that there was life coming from this dead being, man, it gave me an encouragement I hadn't had in a long time. Because I think sometimes we get so bogged down in just the doing and the going and the being and the feeling and the emotional part and all that stuff, that, man, we forget to see, like, the value of what's on the inside of us. Man, and I do believe that God's word is true. And, it says that he has set eternity in the heart of every man. So not only does that mean that for us, we have the ability to live forever, even after this body is no more. But man, that I believe that there's something on the inside of us, man, that when our life is the worst it could be, that, man, if we just look at it with the right perspective, man, it'll come to life. And man, listen, so I can't tell you that sprig grew up into a big old tree out of this timber, but I can tell you this, what people walk by every single day and saw no value in, God placed something on the inside of it that, man, no matter what state it was in, under the right circumstances. See, it wasn't connected to the ground. There's no soil to give it nutrients. But see, there was a crack just big enough, I believe, that allowed the water to get down on the inside of that timber and, man, cause a seed that produces life to be watered, to be nourished, man, enough to break through all of those barriers to get to the top where it got the sunlight that it needed to create its own food source, to create its own energy, to have life.
Amen.
So, like, man, I'm thinking about that. So, man, how many times do we go out throughout the course of the day? Man, we brush our teeth in the morning, we shave in the morning, we wash our face. Man, every time we go to the bathroom, we look at ourselves on the way out the mirror. Those are just the obvious times that we take a look at what our reflection is. And I'm sure there's probably other times in the day that you may just stop as you're walking by the mirror. It's not like everybody's going out of their way to do this, but man, we are specifically taking an interest in something that we see looking back at us. But I think the problem is we don't see the value of the reflection that's in that mirror. First thing you see, man, when you're beat down, when you feel like life's just not worth living, what do you see when you look in that mirror? Man, see, if you don't see the life that God put on the inside of you, whether you believe in him or not, if you don't see the value of the identity that God said this is who you are, and this is definitely who you are not, if you don't recognize those things, every time you look at yourself in the mirror, you're missing an opportunity to, like, encourage and inspire yourself to go on and do the great things. Man, if you're not looking for it, you're not going to see it.
Amen.
But see, what you're looking for is exactly what you will see. I'm not going to become a millionaire because I'm not going to look on the ground for money. Man, they could have a bag full of money right there and I'll probably walk right by it because that's not where my focus is. My focus is, man, what's ahead of me? Man, definitely not what's on the ground. And the only time I look behind me, man, I'm trying to see the wake that I left behind me.
Amen.
My past is my past, and that's just what it is. I can't stay stuck in the fact that I went to prison for 10 years on a 20-year sentence, did 10 years in prison, did 10 years on parole, have all these felony convictions. I can't stay stuck on that because that's not who I am. That's something I did. I can give it the ability to define Doug Pollock if I want by my DOC numbers. I got two of them, one for Texas, one for Louisiana, 319-754. Or 5372182. I have the ability to let those numbers define me. But man, listen. Y'all know y'all hear my wife say it all the time. I don't look in that mirror and see an ex-con. I don't look in that mirror and see somebody that's got multiple felonies, multiple convictions. Man, I look in that mirror and I see somebody that's unstoppable. And it's not because of my own ability. I didn't graduate high school. I got my GED the first time I went to prison in Texas, in TDC, when I was 18. So we can't use that one. Let's throw that out, that excuse out. I didn't finish school. Well, I didn't graduate college. I did go back and get a degree while I was incarcerated, but it's nothing, man. I don't even know if they have associate's degrees. I think they just give you those if you're in prison, I don't know. Man, I mean, I am the least qualified by the definition of society to do the job that I do each and every day. Good thing I'm not letting society define me either.
Amen.
You know, they call me convict, drug addict, loser, liar, cheater, thief. They call me all those things. You know, and when I got out of prison, there was a period of time where I had to transition. See, I went to prison and I said, man, I wasn't going to let prison change me. I said I was going to change prison. And so I came out a little bit better than a lot of people probably do, because I spent those 10 years making sure that, man, I didn't want to have that stigma that I attached to myself that I'm institutionalized. No, I've just been locked up a long time, but I wasn't institutionalized. I didn't want to talk like I've been in prison. I didn't want people to look at me and think that I've been in prison. You know, the craziest thing, when I was in prison, people would come to me and say, man, you must be a guard or something. I'm like, do you see these jeans and this gray shirt? And my name is on the back in orange letters. No, I'm no guard. Man, I'm just like everybody else on here. The only difference is I choose to carry myself differently because I didn't see myself like everybody else. And it doesn't mean I thought I was better than anybody else, because the truth is I committed a lot of crimes that I didn't get caught for. And so I never compared myself to everybody else, because that was not the way to live my life. So, man, like, you can stay in the position that you're in today the rest of your life if you want to. Actually, that's the excuse that we always try to give ourselves. We say, man, change is just too hard. Man, you just don't know what happened to me. Man, you don't know what kind of life I had. Man, my mom and dad this. Man, I didn't even have a mom and dad. See, we make all of those excuses. All the while, you know what we're doing? Is we're just signing off on our own BS. Doug's BS. Check. Oh, Doug's got some more BS. Check. See, that's us. We create the life that we want to live. Man, we have the ability to have the life that we want to have. And the reason I know that to be true is because God gives us that ability. You know why I know that's the case? Because your life is exactly the way it is all the time. See, if you don't like something, what do you normally do? You change it. You don't go to the mall and buy clothes you don't like. You go to the mall and buy clothes you do like. You like the way you look in them. You like the way they fit. Hopefully they're on sale. You like the price. You like a good sale. So why in the world would we be satisfied with a life that's not really a life that's producing life? That all it's doing is producing all the BS that comes with it. See, I put a lot of thought in these things because I think it's so important that, man, I find whatever mechanism I can to connect with you in a way that people had connected with me. Because there was a point in time in my life, man, I can go back and say, man, I remember when this man told me this, but I didn't buy it. Man, I remember when this man told me this, man, I didn't buy it. I remember when these people came and tried to pull me to the side and give me some insight and warn me about some things, and I didn't listen. But you know what? I might not have wanted it at the time, but I never forgot those things. And so at just the right time, man, when that water worked its way into that timber and it found that little sweet spot where there was a seed that had been laying dormant for a really, 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 really long time, and that water did its thing, and man, then that thing started doing what? Started trying to find the surface. Started trying to get out of those tough situations, because God places life on the inside of us, and He gives us the ability to have the life that we want. Man, that doesn't mean life is going to be easy. Man, actually, I'll be honest with you, life is hard, and it's hard all the time, but I'd rather it be hard the way I'm living my life now than hard the way I was living my life then, because then it was not just hard, it was miserable. See, I can deal with this. Life is hard. Man, listen, I'm always going to have a smile on my face. You know why? Because it ain't that hard. Because nothing is impossible. Because, see, I have learned how to allow my limitations to be pushed beyond the limitations that I've set for them. Man, I've allowed myself to learn how to challenge myself to get beyond whatever things. See, I don't look at a problem and say, man, I can't never do that. Man, I look at a problem and go, man, I need to figure out how to figure that out. The problem is there. Problems are always going to be there. There's always going to be things that come against us to oppose us from getting to and to becoming what we're created to be. But you know what? this is what the Bible says. It says perseverance produces character. Character produces hope. You know, it says that hope does not disappoint us. See, man, you can't have character without perseverance. You can't have hope without character. See, man, we were created and designed to like be in this world and not be of the world, man. To have the ability to walk into a room and influence the room instead of the room influence us. And I don't know about you, man, but I'd rather be the guy that's making all the moves than the people that are making the moves on me. You know what I teach my kids? Man, I'm teaching them how to be a leader. You know, I don't think that there's very many naturally born leaders. I can't remember what the study was, but I think at one time they said that about 4% of the people are naturally born leaders, and the other 96% of the people that are leaders learn to lead. So see, I know this. I've had to learn to lead. Now, whether I was a leader or not, I don't know. I can't tell the difference at this point because I've been doing it the right way for so long. I wouldn't believe anything else. So last night, me and my little girl, man, she's 4. She's the sweetest little thing half the time. She is. I was laying in our little office area, and I got this little foot massager and this little back massage. I'm laying there. She said, "Daddy," she says, "I want to worship in here." And I said, "Okay." She said, "Well," she gets, I'll show you the video. She goes and gets this little pink Bible, and she sits on the couch, and she's not reading the Bible, but man, everything she is telling me is right out the Bible. About God, about love, about people, about her friends, about Jesus, about the Holy Spirit. And I asked her, I said, can I please record this? And she said, no. So I laid there for about 5 more minutes. And I said, babe, I need to record this because one day you're going to want to hear this. And she said, okay. And so I got up and I went and recorded that. Man, I believe so much that if I have the opportunity from God to influence my child in such a way that at 4 years old, she knows what worship means, she knows what the Bible means. She don't know how to read, but she already knows what God says. And you know what I asked her? I said, where did you learn that stuff? She said, God. I said, cool.
Man.
Why can I not influence you men? Why can I not challenge you men and whoever else to like have a mind that's open, a heart that's willing, and a spirit that is receptive to try something that you have never tried before for a consistent period of time? See, because I'm like this, man. You know what the Bible says? It says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Well, you know what? If you don't ever taste, you ain't never going to see. If you ain't looking, you're not going to be finding. But what you're looking for, you will find. So, man, I hope that you guys get encouraged by this, man. I hope that more than anything else, man, that today is the best day of the rest of your life, man, and you live your life in such a way that, man, you never want to go back to where you came from.
Amen.